Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Isaiah Warlock here, and today I am going to be remixing the Will Smith Chris Rock slap video into a song. But I actually did already start, so I kind of already have like part of a beat, and I'll show you how I made it, and then I'll kind of add on to it and see if I can make it an entire song. So let's do it. So I'll go ahead and show you what I already have. Every single sound in this entire thing comes just from the Will Smith Chris Rock video. Okay, so it's kind of just like a hip hop beat, and so I do have the audio from the original video
Jada,
right here.
I love you. Oh wow!
Okay, so first of all, this kick. That is actually made from the slap itself. It doesn't really sound like a slap, does it? But the sound of the slap is like a really kicky kind of sound. I think it was because it was really close to like the microphone, kind of like but I took it, I pitched it down even further, and I distorted it and put it through like an EQ and stuff. And then next we have the hi-hats. So this is actually a piece of like the crowd laughing, and which is like sped up. So here's like the longer version. Right, it's that just chopped down, and then if I slow this down, it's sped up, it's filtered, it's distorted, it's chopped. So now we have this. And then we've got the snare, right? The snare is actually made out of two different pieces. This is the first one, and that is actually Chris Rock saying 2 when he's like G.I. Jane 2. It's pitched up, I believe, it's distorted, it's compressed. I think it's really distorted. But yeah, it's just 2. And then we have another layer on the snare, which is this. Which sounds like actually a very convincing clap. But it's actually the same piece of like the crowd that I used here. But I believe it's pitched down. It's also compressed, distorted. And I put this wider plug-in on it to make it sound more wide. And then with the snares on there, we get this. I wanted to bring in some sounds that you could actually recognize from the video. And so one of them is after Will Smith was like, "Keep my wife's name out your," Chris Rock is like, "I'm going to." And then Will Smith is like, yeah, which is that. So it just has a bunch of effects on it, obviously delay and reverb. And then I have a few that are like pitched around, like there's one pitched up, one pitched down. And then I wanted to add another thing that'd be more recognizable from the video. And I heard the Chris Rock laugh when Will Smith is walking up to him. Chris Rock is like laughing kind of nervously. And I thought that sounded, you know, kind of rhythmic, like ha 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 ha. So I wanted to take those two like first laughs and I just repeat them. I repeated them like this. And then, yeah, it's just like chopped and repeated. And then I pitch it down for like the second half, and that gives us this. So that just gives us like an extra little rhythm piece. And then I know I wanted to bring in some kind of like melodic something. I took the wow when Chris Rock is like, wow. I took that, I sampled it, and then I set up some chords with it. Which sounds like that. So it's just 2 chords that go back and forth. And I feel like this just works in combination with everything else. It works with the beat. And then the last final thing is just like this crash, which is that. And that, I think that's just more like a piece of the crowd laughing or whatever. And then all together, you know. Yeah. So now what I want to do is kind of flesh it out a little bit more. I want to see if I can take some of the things that Will Smith and Chris Rock say and make them more rhythmic, but so they sound like kind of like rapping. I'm going to go ahead and take all of this and duplicate it. I do also want to make a bass because there's not really any bass. So let me look for like a line of dialogue that we can start with.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
You know, the question is, how do I make this kind of be more musical? What happens if I just quantize it? It's when you do that. Basically what I'm doing is I'm telling Ableton to like snap everything to the nearest whatever it is on here, 8th notes. So let's see, that should fit in somehow with the rhythm. Let's see how that sounds.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
All right, I'm gonna chop it up a little bit. I like this. I like where this Jada is.
Jada,
and I really like this. All right, at the end.
All right.
Like that works really well. Okay, so I have something that actually I think sounds kind of good.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right.
All right, I'm going to put the actual sound of the slap in here, and then I kind of have it as like a sample before like a drop, you could say. Okay, so I now have this.
Alright, alright. I'm out here. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane too. Can't wait to see it. Alright. Uh-oh, Richard.
Okay, so that's kind of Chris Rock's verse. I guess I'm just gonna going in the direction of like telling the story of what happened in a more musical way, I guess. And at the end, off camera, I'm gonna kind of arrange everything a little bit better and kind of mix everything better. But for now, I think the next thing I want to do is bring in a part for Will Smith. You know,
It's a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your...
like this has to be one of the main things. On it, a little bit of an EQ, and then also a little bit of reverb. The first thing I'll do is just go ahead and quantize it, and then we'll see where that goes. Okay, so this is kind of good, I think, to be honest.
Uh-oh, Richard.
So I use the slap kind of as a sample before the second drop, if you will, and then here I have like a little Will Smith section for you.
Richard.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Wow, dude.
That's kind of like the first little part of it, and I have an idea that I think is actually going to be pretty nice for the rest of it. Okay, so now we're going to take this and duplicate it. What I want to do here is do like a little stutter effect, like keep.
Wow, dude.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
And then I'm going to do the mouth. For some reason, I'm just hearing in my head like mouth, like two mouths. So we're going to do two mouths. There. How does that sound? Yeah. Like I feel like maybe I could take this section, pitch shift it up.
Wife's name out your wife's name out your wife's name!
Uh-oh, Richard.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Wow, dude.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
The little pitch shifts, I actually really like them. I think I want to go back and do some in some of Chris Rock's parts too.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane too. Can't wait to see it. All right.
One more thing I do want to add is
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
that.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Okay, so one thing I don't have at all is a bass, but let's get a bass on. I don't really want to go crawling back through all the audio to find something that we could make into a bass, because obviously the kick drum can be turned into a bass. The simpler should do the trick. Bloop. What's that? No. Okay, let's just say it's that. No. Okay, length. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's what we want. But let's distort it a little bit more. Give it a little bass boost.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane too. Can't wait to see it. All right.
That's kind of the basic idea of it. I do want to mix it a little bit better, and I'll arrange it better. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that off camera, but you are going to see it right now, along with like a little video. But just before I show that to you, if you did enjoy this video, then you'd probably also enjoy my gaming channel. It's Isaiah Warlock Gaming. There's going to be a link in the description, so you can go check it out if you want to. And if you want to support me, I do have a Patreon, and I also have merch. There's a link to that in the description as well. But without further ado, here is the Will Smith Chris Rock Slap song.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane too. Can't wait to see it. All right. Uh-oh, Richard.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Wow, dude.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. All right. All right.